Hello and welcome. This is NTA Tuesday Live, and I'm Cyril Stover. The Nigerian Civil Aviation Act 2006 regulates the Nigerian aviation industry through the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority, NCAA. The NCAA is empowered to make regulations guiding the aviation industry, and as such established the Civil Aviation Regulations 2015. Now, over the years, airline customers have made several complaints of flight delays and persistent cancellation of flights without any remedy. And this despite that Part 19 of the Nigerian Civil Aviation Regulation provides for airline customers' right to reimbursement and compensation in the event of flight delays and cancellations, among others. Now, Part 19 of the regulations provides certain rights of passengers of air transport. Now, some of them are the right to compensation for flight cancellation, delays, damage, lost baggage, and denied boarding for reasons other than technical weather conditions, air traffic control restrictions, security risks, and industrial disputes that affect the operation of the flight. Another is the right to seek redress for all irregularities during the flight, and also the right to be treated with respect and dignity, irrespective of race or physical condition. Now, this list I've just read out to you is not exhaustive. There are others. They're just some of those rights of passengers. Now, furthermore, airline customers are expected to be duly informed of the reasons for delays at a reasonable period if a domestic airline expects a scheduled flight to be delayed, and passengers are to be assisted in the area of refreshments and proper communication in form of calls, text messages, emails at 2 and 3 hour intervals after such delay. Now, if the delay occurred at the airport closing hours, airline customers deserve transportation and accommodation assistance. Well, the Nigerian airspace has recently come under unusual drama involving passengers and cabin crew. Now, these developments have prompted discussions across different quarters. And tonight, NTA Tuesday Live, we're discussing air travel protocols and matters arising. But before we get into the discussion, let's get to see this report put together by correspondent Aliu Kabir.
Air travelers are expected to follow safety instructions, respect fellow passengers and staff, and comply with regulations and airline rules to enhance safety.
Every airport is simple. Compliance. The rules are always clear. Come to the airport on time, have your ticket, pay for your ticket, pass through subject yourself to the, security and safety checks, get to the boarding area, be orderly, basically.
Globally, aviation is guided by strict standards set by the International Civil Aviation Authority, ICAO. In Nigeria, the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority, NCAA, enforces these rules, working alongside other security agencies such as the Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria, FAN, the Nigerian Safety Investigation Bureau, and other security agencies like the Nigerian Immigration Service. Their mandate is clear: ensure safety and protect passengers' rights, among others. But safety is a shared responsibility. Passengers must arrive early for checks, cooperate with security screenings, avoid carrying prohibited items, and respect cabin crew instructions.
You follow the aviation rules, follow the protocol rules. They say you cannot bring in your personal water, your personal everything inside the aircraft. If you want to, you check them in. You understand? But some people will still put cream put hair cream.
But there are rules and regulations that need to be abided by. And it doesn't take a strand of hair from you to do that. In the end, it's for our own good. Nobody is above the law. Stick to the rules and everything is going to be okay.
Airline staff, on the other hand, must maintain professionalism, handle delays with transparency, and treat passengers with courtesy.
The passengers, to a large extent, they know their rights. They know what not to do. But the challenge now is complying with instructions being given. In flight, for example, the cabin crew are there primarily for our safety, not for comfort. And being there so far is for them to mitigate any safety issues that will pop up.
One growing concern is unusual or unruly behavior on board, from verbal abuse to physical confrontation. Globally and in Nigeria, offenders risk prosecution, fines, and even being placed on a no-play list. For airline staff, managing passenger frustration during flight delays or cancellation requires calm communication and empathy, not confrontation. Experts in the aviation industry believe the way forward lies in stronger passenger education, consistent enforcement of airline protocols, and continuous training for aviation workers.
Most times, before a crew member and a passenger will have an altercation, it is only when the passenger has refused or ignored a polite instruction. That's the truth. That's the truth. There is no crew member that comes up to a passenger and just start shouting. No. In fact, we will make a general announcement of what is to be done and what is not to be done. So crew members are not generally rude. I'm going to sum up with this. Now the next question is, are passengers generally unruly or rude? The answer to is no. So passengers are not generally rude.
They say these will go a long way to enhancing safety for the overall development of the sector. In Abuja, Aliu Kabir.
That report sets the tone for tonight's discussion. Let's introduce our guest to you. I'd like to welcome to this program Gori Ike is an aviation expert. Good to have you join us.
Oh, thank you, Steve. And my dear viewers, please welcome to the program.
Right. We're also joined tonight by Captain Ahmed Ibrahim Mahmoud, Director of Operations, United Nigeria Airlines. Thanks for being here tonight.
Thank you very much. It's nice to be here with you.
Right. And now joining us on this discussion is Jide Ojo, regular with us here on this program. As a public affairs analyst, Jide Ojo, good to see you again.
My pleasure.
Right. Thanks. Well, at some point in time, you can join in this discussion. When it gets to that time, we'll remind you of the process and the procedures. But for now, let's begin to look at some of the issues. And there's a clear place to start from. The key responsibilities of airline staff during air travel. Let's start from that premise and return to Godiki for that.
You're talking about key staff. You have to first of all come into the waiting hall. Mm-hmm. You have people there who are supposed to assist and who are watching everybody and making sure that everybody's obeying the rules. And then after that, when it's time to board, then you go out there to meet the air hosts and hostesses, and so everything is in stages. Generally speaking, aviation is a business of civility. Both those that are serving and those that are being served. Everyone must learn to be civil. It's a very delicate, business. I often say to anyone that listens that airplanes are very faithful machines. The reason they follow the skies is because human operators can be unfaithful and more often than not extremely dishonest. That's why they follow the skies. And so, having said that, it behaves on flying public to learn to be extremely responsible, calm, and if there is anything that is bothering any individual, that's what those workers there, the hosts and hostesses, that's what they are there for. You can gently approach them and tell them your concern, and they are trained to respond to your request. But to find a situation where people are, canceled to behave in a particular way or handle their equipment, electronic equipment in a particular way, and rather than listen and they begin to make trouble, is unacceptable. However, two wrongs do not make a right. From what I saw this last occasion where some passengers had altercations with the air hostesses, on no account should any of the hosts or hostesses raise their voices or get so angry as to engage in very hot exchange with passengers. On no account should that happen. So I think they need more training. They need to be taught that you are there to meet all sorts of characters, and no matter how they misbehave, your business is to continue to calmly guide them through to good, to good behavior. And granted, if you will even be violent, granted, and if you find such, that's when a call must be made quickly to the aviation security officials to move in and take charge. It's not the business of the hostesses and the hosts and even the pilots to engage anyone in any physical struggle. It's not their business at all. When it comes to that, invite the security people. They know how to deal with unruly people. All right?
Okay, we'll just take that for the moment, saying that's an overview of it. But let's come to one who's the director of operations for an airline and tell us direct from your premise, what are your responsibilities? And when I say your responsibilities, as in airline staff, to those who patronize your services, air travel.
Thank you very much, and it's nice being with you today. First of all, I would like to say, in aviation, we have rules and regulations, and we have to follow strictly in according to the regulations. We have regulatory body, which the ICAO and the NCA, which is for the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority, which we have all our manuals and documentation approved by the CAA before we carry out any operations. And for every operation, every act that has been carried out by an airline, the NCA have to go through their documentations, their manuals, and get it approved before we start operations. And for everything, every procedures that the staffs have been carried out, from ticketing, reservation, passenger handling, security, all these are in accordance with these operating procedures. Nobody should deviate outside that. So for us to know, for the general public to know that nobody does anything just on his own, like I think it should be like this. No. We have guidelines in aviation, and it will interest you to know that aviation is the most regulated industry in the world. Nothing is being left out, from the land side to the air side, before even entering the aircraft and flying. So it is part of the responsibilities of the staffs to give a good customer service to the customers coming. These customers are the ones patronizing, and the airlines are making money from there. But they should know that everything they are doing have rules and regulations. For a customer to want to come and dictate to the airline how they should carry out their procedure, it is not acceptable. Every personnel that is being in front of an airline is being trained. And training and retraining, it is only in aviation that this goes on. Some training 1 year, some training every two years, some six months. We have to go through trainings. So, but for a passenger to come and start telling you, no, you are not doing it the right way, this is not right. But we'll try as much as possible to give training, to give proper customer service. Proper customer service. And this provide help and respectful and courtesy. The way this customer service gives passenger a proper briefing. You come to ask questions, but not come to instruct people to do their jobs. This is our office. It's like going to the military barrack and telling them how to run their operation. That is what passengers come to do in the airport. So it is part of our safety and security. It is part of our responsibility. How we go about it, it has been laid down in the procedure. We have SOPs for everything we do. And this has been presented to the CA, and the CA has given an approval to it before it's been carried out. We have to communicate properly to the customers, to the passengers. Everybody can be a passenger. Today you can be a crew, tomorrow you can be a passenger on another airline. And we give assistance to the passengers in any form, how they want to be assisted. These are part of our duties, responsibilities, and most importantly, professionalism in this business is very, very important. You have to be professional. And you are a professional, you have to act like one. You are trained to be a professional. So, in aviation, nothing is being left out. We have a regulation we have to follow, we have an SOP we have to follow. And this keeps us in guide on every action. If you are being caught, violate any of that, now the NCA is going to raise their hammer on you.
Okay. Well, we'll explore that in greater detail. Well, let's come to Jide, and let's hear your thoughts.
Thank you. Good evening, Nigerians. As a flying public, I think, yes, aviation, highly regulated, and I think aviation has the lowest accident rate globally compared to other forms of, other means of transportation. Last week in my column in The Punch, I actually researched into the four main means of transportation: the road, the rail, water, and air. And you find out that research shows that while airplane accident could be, could be more fatal, it rarely happens compared to road, compared to even inland waterway transportation or railway. But the issue is not about whether there were standard operating procedures or regulatory authorities, it's whether the airline operators are keeping to those rules and whether they are not being treated with kid gloves. Nobody is in doubt that because of the caliber of people who fly, safety concern is very important. It's people like you, people like Godi. I'm the least traveled because I can't afford anyway. It used to be you can fly Lagos Abuja 20,000 some few years ago. Now it's like 150, 200,000. I'm thinking of how many noodles of rice I can buy.
Don't worry, we'll bring it down
but,
soon.
But that's on a lighter mood. But you see, the issue is that there is a culture of impunity in the aviation sector. And I'm saying this as a flying public. Flight act. I mean, you said it in your background that flights are routinely cancelled without due compensation to the passengers. Okay, here we are. And this is practical experience. I had an official engagement in Ibadan. I won't mention the airline. It was meant to be 4 p.m. flight. You have to be there 1 hour before. I was there. We waited 5 p.m., 6 p.m., 7 p.m., 8 p.m., 9 p.m. The flight was eventually cancelled. No information. The only thing we had was an announcement about the cancellation, return tomorrow morning at 7. And we went back after grumbling and grudging, and then we got back. No, they said 7:30 the following day. And we went back. My friend from Enugu, we were going on the same field mission together. If he's watching, he will be nodding his head now. He's a professor from UNN. He flew to Abuja so that he joined the earlier flight so that by 4 we could both fly. We had a hotel reservation level in Ibadan. And when the flight was cancelled, here was a man from Enugu, didn't mean to pass the night in Abuja. Now he's compelled. I have to take him for the night. We went back very early the following day. And the flight did not eventually depart until 11. And on that flight, those who were victim of what I'm saying, who are watching, will be saying, so this guy was on that flight. There were judges, there were senior lawyers, senior advocates on that flight. In fact, after that shabby treatment, we formed a WhatsApp group, and we wanted to press charges. But you know how it is with our court system, who is going to foot the bill? Would there be lawyers who will serve pro bono and all of that? So after a while, I just pulled out of the WhatsApp group. So the impunity, the disdain with which passengers are sometimes treated by some of the airlines. In fact, we know, and I won't mention them, we know some airlines who are perpetually delaying flights. It's like they are the only one who operates. They cancel, they delay flights. And what is the excuse? Operational reason. Glib response. Operational reason. Or weather. So, I mean, why nobody is saying don't enforce your standard operating procedure? Is demand and supply, is rights and responsibility. If you look at the 4 means of transportation, flight is the most expensive means of transportation. So if customers are paying hugely, and you have to pay you have to be surcharged for missing your flight, why can't we get the passenger's bill of rights, also being faithfully implemented, so that when there is a delay, there is supposed to be a refreshment. When you are delayed for some number of hours, you are supposed to be provided accommodation, even though it's a local flight. Why are all of these things not being done? And the aviation regulatory bodies look as if, I know at some point the minister was saying, you have to understand these people, capitalization, issues about cost recovery and all of that. But Bismarck Rewani did a research, which I quoted in my article last week, where he said there is now a reduction in the number of air passengers in Nigeria. Why is that so? Because people are not getting value for their money. Apart from the rising cost of flying, the value for money is no longer there, because if you have to make 6 hours road trip and then you have delayed at the airport for that same number of hours, you are wondering why shouldn't you have done the road travel in the first instance?
You've raised a number of issues. I'd like to just return quickly to Captain Ahmed Ibrahim Mahmoud, because some of these issues that Jide has just thrown up are the issues you hear on a regular basis. And sometimes people would say, no, it's this airline that does it. Some will say, no, it's the other airline. And some will say, no, there's a few who have consistently been professional. At other points we hear, look, they're all the same. Why is this so rampant? Particularly the issue of delays and cancellations with little or no information. But that's one of the things that the airlines are supposed to do. You said so yourself.
Okay, yes. I agree with you, but issue of compensation on delay and cancellation of flight, if you go to the civil aviation, we have a section now for consumer protection, which they are working tirelessly, following up with airlines. If you have any issue regarding cancellation, delay of flight, baggage, missing, any other issues, you go through Consumer Protection Department unit. We have the Director of Consumer Protection, which they are following up. They send emails for any issue you have with any airline. There is a contact, there is an email. You send an email to. They follow up with airlines, and this has not been happening before. With the present administration of the NCAA, they give all the right to the passengers. Any issue you have regarding your baggage, your ticket, delay, cancellation, you have right to take it up with the NCAA. And the NCAA are going to follow up with the airline, and you are going to get your compensation. This has been going on for a while. They send us emails, send you, and they follow up on every issue. So if you have an issue with any airline, just go through the NCAA. If you go to the airport, they have a stand for consumer protection. You go there, you lodge your complaint, they give you an email, you write in an email, and they are going to. So, and what again did he talk about?
Yeah, well, when you don't get adequate information that this cancellation, this is, as Gideon just said, there's this usual blanket operational reasons.
Yes.
And you wonder how every other airline has operational reasons. Now, for a lot of people, the term operational reasons has become just another way of saying, we don't owe you any explanation, you can just...
To be sincere, in the airlines too, some people are being scared of giving out some information because of their job. Because from the upper end, they are going to ask you to dish out such information. and they are going to say, so when they say operational reason could be anything.
Right.
So,
and it could be nothing.
It could be nothing. So, but in our own aspect, from our own side, especially, my chairman will always tell you there is nothing like operational reason. You need to be very clear about what is the reason for delay. If there is no delay, there is no delay. But what is operational reason? If it is maintenance, it's maintenance. If it is weather, if it is technical issue, we cannot take chances. If it is weather situation, we don't take chances. If you have weather in your destination or weather en route is not favorable, it's better you delay the weather pass, then you go. Or instead of going and diverting and incurring more cost. So, but operational reasons could be any reason.
And it could be presidential movement.
No, well, presidential movement, they cannot cancel a flight because of a presidential movement.
But I've experienced, I'm sorry, Siri, I've experienced a situation. I don't know, not in recent past anyway, I've experienced a situation where we were delayed and roving in the sky for over 30 minutes because of presidential movement. And that's very dangerous. What if the airline didn't carry enough?
No, that's the fact. Right. When there is a VIP movement, the airfield is being closed.
And that happens fairly regularly, doesn't it?
It happens time to time when the VIPs want to fly, presidential movement and all that.
Is that part of the general aviation situation that this should happen?
Well, that is the protocol procedures in Nigeria and some of the African countries where there are VIP movement, presidential
But
movement.
again, they say aviation is not local anymore, it's international.
It's
and
international.
all practices must be based on international best practices. However, we'll return to some of those issues, but I do believe that we have some reports from other parts of the country. If we do have those reports ready, let's see if we can get this one from Lagos.
Safety is not just about preventing accidents in the air. It is about ensuring that every passenger from the moment they step into the airport until they arrive at their destination is treated with dignity, respect, and care. At Nigeria's airports, safety begins long before plane takes off, but for many passengers, the real turbulence happens on the ground. Complaints from passengers reveal that safety in the skies is only part of the story, from delayed assistance to persons with disabilities to concerns about boarding procedures and accountability. Many passengers like Abdulrahman Oba, a spinal cord injury victim, face a lot of challenges.
To the flight entrance, the pilot himself come down and even challenging the staff that brought me there, who asked them to come with me. This is not the right time. They have to take me back again to waiting room, or what do they call it? It's an embarrassment, discrimination, stereotyping, and even a provision for accessibility to the craft is quite challenging.
Stories like this are not uncommon. Passengers left unattended, assistive devices mishandled, and safety procedures that fail to consider the needs of the most vulnerable.
Somebody will come and hold me from the back, another one will hold my legs up and down. In fact, they can destabilize your condition. You know, we have problem with our spinal column, and if you don't take care, you can cause an extra havoc to the situation.
There was a time I was to return from Lagos, I think whether 6 o'clock, 8 o'clock flight. Eventually got in there, we were delayed, the flight was cancelled. In fact, scheduled to the second day.
Questions are being raised about whether airlines and airport authorities are truly doing enough to keep every passenger safe.
Go to any of our terminal, NTA has a banner, and the banner is self-explanatory, rights of passengers, and we have flyers, we even do sensitization. Sometimes our officers go around desensitizing the passengers. So those are part of NCA areas.
At Malam Aminu Kano International Airport, NTA News made efforts to speak directly with airline operators on these concerns, but the efforts proved abortive as officials declined to comment on camera. Stakeholders insist that until airlines embrace inclusivity as a core part of their safety culture, air travels will remain a struggle for too many Nigerians. In Kano, Yahana Sahasambaro.
Right, that report actually was from Kano. And let's now bring you the Lagos report we initially introduced.
Observing aviation standard safety procedures promotes a country's global reputation and passenger confidence, which has direct impact on economic growth. Pre-flight checks, in-flight safety, passenger safety briefings, among others, are crucial for establishing and maintaining high level of safety.
Phones emit radio frequencies, and they emit electromagnetic interference, and those could interfere with the communication systems of the plane. There's some even procedures that they tell you to do, like your tray tables that come out, they tell you to fold them back in. This is just to prevent any projectiles that could happen during turbulence or anything. The whole idea is just to create a controlled environment.
Recently, the cases between some individuals and airlines dominated Nigeria's discourse space with various opinions, most of which are pointing towards safety.
Professionalism must never be compromised, no matter what, and no matter who is involved. If you consider what is at stake, lives of people, the aircraft, I would want to say that decisiveness cannot be compromised.
Industry experts are advocating adherence to safety rules by passengers, cabin crew members, and other concerned staff.
When a passenger refuses to obey those rules, if it's before takeoff, the pilot is expected to call in security after they have used all powers of persuasion to calm the passenger. The passenger has to be deboarded, escorted off the plane, then the law should take its course. The captain and the crew are not police, they are not aviation security. Their job is to run a successful flight from one destination to the other. So they are handed over to the professionals, the law at that airport to take care of the situation.
Experts believe as airline operators work towards achieving safer skies, they should prioritize regulatory requirements as well as fundamental operations. In Lagos, Hinginu, John Adams.
All right, let's return to the studio here, and some of the issues that have been raised in that report is what we will ask Godike to comment on. Yes, before those reports, we highlighted the matter of VIP movement and safety concerns in the air, but let's leave that a while. We'll return to it because there are other matters that we will bring out with regards to that. But for now, let's go back to the issue of the flying public. We've taken a look at what the responsibilities of the airlines are. Let's look at the passengers themselves. What is expected of the flying public?
Oh, well, this is an elitist way of traveling, isn't it? And people are expected to be civilized. People are expected to be honorable and expected to be, well behaved. It's not like the local motor park where you find people screaming and shouting and fighting and everything is all done in a very rough manner. The aviation is about civility. And so if people choose to come out there to misbehave, they should be taught that it's controlled also by law. And the law should be allowed to take its course. And that's why I find it, quite disappointing and surprising that, somebody misbehaved big time at the airport and ended up ending an
ambassador.
Ending an ambassador. I mean, to tell you the truth, when that news broke, I felt insulted, really insulted as a civilized Nigerian, who would never, with my level of sanity at the moment, I would never engage in anything near that. Yeah.
If we take that as maybe an example, there are other examples which I would like to raise here and try to find out the thinking on that. I'm going back to some of those regulations in the Aviation Act and what they say should be the rights. I'll just read one of them here. One of them is the right to the provision of a conducive airport environment before, during, and after flights. You have just stated that the airport is not the usual local motor park or garage, as we say, and people need to be civil. But let's look at a scenario here. Someone has booked a flight. Imagine Ejide Ojo has just narrated an experience, booked a flight, and is coming to that airport where the facilities are less than standard. And this is true, even for the newer airports. There's still a lot to be said about facilities in there. Facilities are a little less than standard. And after long delays, the flight is cancelled. The passenger had not made any prior arrangement to spend an extra day in that place.
Yeah.
Somehow they have to find a way to keep body and soul together. The next day, they are not even on any priority list, and sometimes the airline can say, look, we don't think that because your flight was cancelled last night, we should give you priority on the first flight that's taking off the next day. Doesn't happen like that. They tell you it's also fully booked. Now, a passenger who has gone through all that is already frustrated.
That's right.
A conducive airport environment has not been provided. Now it gets to during, and then they're on edge. What do you expect would happen?
Oh, well, yeah, for an individual who cannot control his or her emotions, it's natural that people can fly off the handle. I do understand that. But let me tell you what the secret is, that my colleague here, the captain, will not tell you. Anytime you buy a ticket, be it online or be it that you went to the office there to book, there are some fine lines that are assumed that you've signed off and accepted as the conditions for purchase of
those fine lines. Do they also include being treated without due courtesy?
Not specifically, but the whole idea of those fine lines is by the way, it's all about turning the rules, regulations, and the laws upside down, downside up. In any way you can twist it to confuse the more. The whole idea is the airlines will do whatever they like and get away with them. And if you sue them to court, you're likely not to win, because they will prove to the court that you've signed that this can happen. And
so what's the essence of the regulations then?
See, that's where we need to sit up as a people and as a nation and put our feet down, that the right thing must be done. I had given an example once, I don't know if it was on this channel, where I visited Houston, Texas in the US, and then on my way back home, I got to the airport. It happened to coincide with when those oil magnets, once in a year, the oil magnets all over the world meet in Houston, Texas in the US. And then it happened that it was the period they were all trooping back home. So airlines were overbooked. Well, guess what? This airline that I took, as soon as I got to the counter, the young lady there said, I'm sorry, sir. I'm sorry, sir. You're not going to be able to fly today. We are totally, full. And but never mind. We have a ticket for you to get to the train and to the hotel. We have a free hotel for you. We have lunch. We have dinner and your breakfast the next day, and then a ticket that brings you back to the airport to fly the next morning. And then to cap it up, they gave me a voucher for 900 euros. I didn't say a word. I didn't ask a question. Just as I got there. Why is it different? It's different because if they messed me up and I took them to any local court, it won't last more than 48 hours. A decision will be made. and a huge fine will be slammed on them, much higher than all they offered me. Well, I was happy to walk away with 900 euros, be in a comfortable hotel, have my lunch, my dinner, my breakfast, got a free train, go to and fro. So what am I saying? The culprit here is the legal system in Nigeria.
Right. Well, this would be interesting to you. You find out that, there are some fine lines that in the long run divest you of what the so-called regulations in the Act have given to you. You find that strange, don't you?
You know, again, that's the culture of impunity we're talking about. I sympathize with the aviation sector. They've been at the receiving end. You know, at some point they were seeking bailout from the past administration of President Muhammadu Buhari. I don't know whether they eventually got it.
Didn't get any.
When flight went up to 50,000, we were complaining, this is too expensive. We never knew we were going to pay through our nose and through our nostrils, as it were. And I understand that they are trying to stay afloat. But if you cannot stand the heat, don't go near the kitchen. The bottom line is that why nobody will want them to compromise safety and security. The issue is that they have to count their cost and treat their customers with... There is a popular idea that the customers are always right. Maybe not always, but you see, you've painted a very good scenario and frustrated... and you know how many functional airports we have in Nigeria. If you are going to Abia today, I don't know whether Godi is from Abia.
No,
you
from
fly.
Anambra
You fly to Imo, Owerri, or you fly to Enugu, and then have to do road travel. If I'm going to Osun, I either fly to Ibadan or fly to Akure, and then do road travel. There are places you can. So maybe I've in my head, I've planned my trip. Okay, my flight to Ibadan is 2 p.m. It's a 1-hour flight. By 3:30, I should be in Ibadan. So I should be on my way to Osogbo by latest by 4. I should get to Osogbo by 6, latest. Now, you have a 4 hours delay. You don't plan to sleep in Ibadan. And yet, sometimes it's just your airport taxi that is on you. Going to the airport, maybe you've made arrangements, somebody is picking you at the other end, and then you are messed up. The flight, the instance I told you about, which happened in 2021, there was a lady going for her thesis defense at Olabisi Onabanjo University, and she wanted to go a day earlier. Her plan was to get to Ibadan and proceed to Agowe that same evening. Unfortunately, the flight was cancelled. Now, the plan was come back very early, 7:30, you'll be on your way. The flight never took off until 11. Now, somebody whose thesis defense has been scheduled maybe months earlier, how do you tell your supervisor, your external and internal supervisor, that you are conspicuously missing because a flight has messed you up? So there are some costs cannot be calculated in naira and kobo. And you know, for business people, an hour can mean loss of billions of naira. Because, okay, Lagos, Abuja, you want to come into Abuja for a business meeting and go back. You didn't plan to sleep. And now you had this delay. You want to get on another flight. Something else happened. That one is also delayed, presidential movement, this, that. And at the end of the day, you are just frustrated. And so little things can flare you up. Because why we may take exception to certain habits being exhibited by passengers? Because I've been at the receiving end. Let me give you one illustration. Very recently, just 2023, I had an official engagement in Kaduna and then in Jos. And because the organization that engaged me didn't want us to do road travel, so we flew from Abuja to Lagos and connected Kaduna from Lagos. On our way back, we were delayed in Kaduna going to Lagos to connect our flight that would take us to Jos. We were delayed by 5 hours. By the time we got to Lagos, the organization had to make accommodation provision, which was not budgeted for. And then we were scheduled to be out of Lagos to go to Jos the following morning, only for then the airline to cancel the flight at 4 a.m. in the morning, at 4 a.m. And then we had to now come back to Abuja and do road travel to Jos. Just imagine that nightmare. You are trying to have a seamless travel, and then the airline just messed you up. There is no way, even if they are going to compensate you, the health risk, the physical risk to your person, and then the loss, economic loss, sometimes is unquantifiable. So I think they need to improve the infrastructure. I know we are not where we used to be. Remember, Siri, in time past, some airports, you can't fly to them by 7 p.m. They don't have landing facilities for night landing. I think that is being improved, but a lot more investment need to go to Nigerian's aviation sector. Because of these operational reasons, some of them are something that if there is right investment, it should not have happened. Even with weather, with Doppler radar, that you can predict the weather forecast unless there is a bird strike or there is something very significant. Even in weather, you can fly. Just that the degree of visibility must be such that, it puts the life of the crew and the passengers at risk. But because of low investment in the aviation sector, that's why we are seeing this unless, okay, an airline that has only 1 aircraft or 2 aircraft, and yet is going on 5 routes. So one is coming from Port Harcourt to pick passenger in Abuja, then en route to Lagos. So the moment you have a delay in Port Harcourt, it sets a chain of delays across all your routes for that day. And that's why many people who want to travel now will choose to go by the first flight, because it is believed that the first flight is usually the one that never gets delayed, because they know that once you have that delay from this outset, it affects you, because many of them don't have as many aircraft.
Now you have just said that. You have just increased the number of people who will besiege the airports for the first flight. I said, well, after all...
Well, that's the trade secret. I don't know whether Captain agrees with me, but I know that's what we are being told now.
But let's come to Captain Ibrahim Mahmoud. And you've heard the gentleman on the side. But I just like you to take notice of one of the tweets that came in on this program, and this one is Labzy6, and it's saying, why does it sometimes feel like the stress at our airports begins from the boarding gate and doesn't end until baggage claim? So it's a whole period, and within this period, you have people on board the aircraft, and all that has happened at that gate is carried onto the aircraft. And short fuse. A lot of people frustrated, they're paying so much, and it just takes a little to start a flare on board. And when that happens, how do the airline staff manage customer complaints and conflicts?
Okay. First of all, I agree with you that our airports may not be very equipped. They are not up to the standard. But one thing the passengers should know that is not in the hands of the operators. The operators have nothing to do with the infrastructures in the airport. It is what is put in place that the operators are going to use. Going through screening And every other procedure they need to go to is not in the hands of the operators. The operators have to subject all passengers that are checked in to screening and pass through all necessary security screening. The best we can do is when they come on board, we plead to them, we persuade them. The facilities in the airport, you talked about delaying flight and all that. Okay, no airline will intentionally want to cancel your flight or intentionally want to delay your flight if there is no any reason. There can be hundreds of reasons for delay, but a passenger don't want to listen to any delay. Now they get on board. If there is a delay of 1 hour, 2 hours, they get on board, they've explained to them, they give you due operational reason or even if it's due technical. But now, the person you want to fight on board, the cabin crew, the air hostels, have no clue of the delay. I can understand your point. You are coming, you are frustrated, but bringing that into the aircraft, automatically you'll be tagged on road the passenger. You come on board and start fighting. Whether they subject you to a kind of security check, this and that, you have to go through it. Whether you have 10 hours delay or not, you have to still follow the protocol, the procedures. We have airports in Nigeria that are sunset. Recently, the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority have been able to lift some of these airports beyond sunset. But we still have quite a lot of airports that are sunset. After sunset, you cannot fly there. If they have a technical issue and it goes into sunset, you cannot fly. These are some of the reasons. So, some of the airports need to be upgraded. Most of our airports. At night, you have literally few airports you can fly to. Before they upgraded Enugu and Owerri, the moment it is sunset, you have only Lagos, Abuja, Kano, and Port Harcourt. Before you can fly to any of the other airports, you have to get extension. And this costs more to the airline. Now, sometimes you could get the extension, you may get it, you may not get the extensions. You have no any other options than to cancel that flight. If the airport does not have the proper equipment for light landings, you don't have approach light, you don't have runway light, there is nothing you can do to it. You fly in there, you are violating the law. So the best is just to cancel the flight or reschedule the flight for the next day. If you have situations that made you not to be able to operate a flight. But operating series of flights with one aircraft is not a problem. The problem is what you schedule, you make a proper schedule. And in case there is the aircraft is not going to tell you there is going to be a technical issue tomorrow. It's not going to announce to you. It's just like you take out your car now, you're going out, something goes, the car stopped on the road. The aircraft is being managed properly. If there is an issue, the pilot will not go. We have certain limitations that you cannot break. So, and the pilots too, they are human beings like you. They don't want to die. They have families too. But the general public thinks maybe the pilot will just take the aircraft and just go and do any. No. If he sees it's not okay, we have manuals, we have checklists to look into all instruments. And if the instrument is not giving the proper indications, you are not going. And it's for the safety of the passengers. So, cancelling a flight or delaying a flight due to some technical issue, we cannot overrule it. It's going to happen.
All right. At this point, we'll take a short break. When we return, there'll be more issues raised. We'll have another report, and then we'll take a few more tweets. And, of course, the lines will be open, and hopefully we'll be able to get some calls in through on tonight's discussion. Stay with us on NTA Tuesday Live. We'll be back shortly.
From the Atlantic across the savannah to the Sahara, we rise, a land of the free, we know they tire. We dream great, our spirit is undying.
Resilient, rooted like palm tree, we sway in colors, with undying demand. We make solutions, we ignite passion, yeah. Ethnicity is unique, we are more than just a nation.
We are Nigeria, strengthening unity. We know they carry lives. We are Nigeria, together live the dream of a land with great destiny. We are Nigeria.
I am the real Nigerian. Brought to you by the National Orientation Agency, NOA. NTA Tuesday Live, a network issue-oriented innovation talk show.
Thanks for staying with us. We're all talking about air travel protocols and matters arising. This is the part where we open the phone lines and you can get to join the conversation in the studio. We always tell you the procedure and we appeal to you to stay by those procedures. And if you call in through and your call gets through to the studio, turn down the volume of your TV set to avoid the hurlback or the echo. We also encourage you to keep such calls, your comments and your questions as brief as possible so that others can also get on the line and stay direct on the issues at stake. So we hope those calls will come through tonight. We'll start off with another in our reports, and this one is from Abakaliki.
Line safety protocols such as pre-flight checks, emergency drills, and safety briefings were formulated to guarantee the safety and well-being of passengers, crew, and the aircraft. They are designed to prevent accidents, mitigate risks, and handle emergencies effectively. By following these protocols, airlines can minimize potential hazards and respond promptly to any unforeseen situations. Despite these strict drills, which promote a culture of preparedness among crew members, in compliance with regulatory requirements and more reliable air travel experience for passengers and the crew, the new trend of face-off between passengers and crew members as a result of flagrant disobedience to airline safety protocols in the country, experts say, is becoming worrisome and should be nipped in the bud.
And people get this ticket and they don't even look at it to know whether there are certain rules and regulations or procedures. I saw that in there. And sometimes you get to the airport, you find out that you may get to see somebody who just boarded a flight for the first time. And is trying to wear the belt. He doesn't know where even to take the belt. He doesn't know even where to call people to maybe serve him water or serve him some kind of meal, or maybe call the attention of the hostess of the within the airline. And it is their duty to keep caring for them, to keep attending to them.
For other respondents, there is need for crew members to undergo anger management courses so as to uphold sanity, which will in turn prioritize safety, maintain airline industry's reputation, and prevent avoidable altercations.
On the part of passengers, we should be able to maintain some of the laws guiding flying. And so on the part of government, I think we need to also give orientation. Apart from that, 2 minutes of air hostesses used to come and say, do this, do that. In fact, you cannot even hear what they are speaking. So there should be another opportunity also for public sensitization on the rules and regulations guiding airlines.
Passengers should adhere to the rules and regulations of boarding on air. While on the part of the air hostess, they should also try to be more friendlier, and also know how to address their customers.
It's quite discouraging seeing all these
crisis erupting between passengers and hostesses and airline authorities. And it doesn't speak good of our country. Now, there are laws guiding air travels and the rest of them, and the airport and conditions. And once you are going to enter the airport as a passenger, you should be able and get ready to obey the terms. Otherwise, you get your own aircraft.
They further advised that unified stringent measures should be enacted in Nigeria to compel passengers to abide by airline safety protocols while boarding, and called for constant orientation and retraining for airport staff to permanently eliminate such incidents in the country. In Abakaliki, Fortunate Ozo.
Back to the studio here. It would seem as if all along we've talked about what the airlines have done, what they have not done, what they've failed to do, or what they have not done as they expected to. But on the flip side, one of the respondents on that last report said, let's look at passengers, the flying public. And yes, if truth must be told, there have been many incidents where people on board aircraft have refused to abide by the advisory they're given by the cabin crew. It starts from even before they board the plane. They're going, and people want to carry certain things that are prohibited. One of the respondents talked about some people not caring to find out what's allowed and what's not allowed on board. And you do find altercations regularly in the matter of what you need to carry, particularly liquids, and this has been on ever since those bombing experiences the world over, where stringent restrictions were placed on liquids and some other. Then there's also the question of cabin luggage, where people have gone into serious arguments with airline officials when they attempt to carry what is, let's face it, not cabin luggage on board. And have insisted on sometimes that has to be taken away at the foot of the aircraft before boarding. And those incidents have also led to altercations. What do you say about what passengers should do?
Steve, the issue is about Nigeria and the law, and law enforcement and the judicial system. Nobody seems to be afraid of the law anymore in Nigeria. It's just lawlessness. Those individuals you're referring to who are misbehaving here won't do that outside this country.
Yes.
Not even in Benin Republic. They won't do it. True. Because it's been taken for granted that the laws will not be enforced in Nigeria. And even the enforcement agents will trivialize a serious issue and engage in unacceptable conduct as law enforcement agents. And so it's been seeping into the system of human beings in the country, and it has come to a point where we are just operating like a lawless, nation with lawless people who do not care about what the law says and who think that no matter what the law says, they can get away with it, and they do get away with it. I just told you a moment ago how insulted I felt when somebody who misbehaved big time, who should be put behind the bars, ended up aiming for misbehavior.
Okay.
I mean, how can we go on this way as a nation? So it's just about lawlessness. It's all. It's lawlessness. They can't do it elsewhere. If they do it elsewhere, they will be in jail.
Jide, on the flip side, surely you must have encountered situations where passengers on board an aircraft have refused to abide by regulations. A frequent one is the matter of switching off. And I have faced that a number of times myself, where people seated next to me refused to turn off their phones, And you do get a lot of them saying these days that, no, you don't have to turn off. There is a flight mode. You can put it on flight mode. And if you put it on flight mode, that's just as good. And so, in fact, some passengers go to the extent and say, for airlines that are insisting that you switch off when you can put it on flight mode, it means they are still operating in the past. And that the new, I mean, well, so let's hear you on that.
I concur with you, Cyril. And I will not blame those passengers per se. I've been on several flights where the cabin crew will announce either switch off or put on flight mode. They give you that option. And I've also been on several flights where they insist, no flight mode, switch off. And the enforcement, again, this could warrant unruly behavior because by the time you are insisting the person seated next to you who is refusing to switch off, you are insisting he switches off. Equal, I mark you, and then there could be an altercation which can lead to unruly behavior on the board. So I agree with you that some of my compatriots are lax about that, and sometimes they put everybody's life in jeopardy by refusing to obey simple instructions. Aside from that, even the use of lavatory. Sometimes, when you are facing turbulence and somebody insists he has to go to the jet, to the lavatory, and everybody is saying, I've seen captains shouting on cabin crew to take their seats. In times of turbulence, and a passenger will say, I want to pee on my body. I need to use the lavatory.
All right, we have a call coming through. Salisu, I believe, from Kanu, calling in. Hello, you're on the line. Let's hear you. Salisu from Kanu.
Hello?
Yes, go right ahead.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening, Salisu, go on.
Good evening, gentlemen. How are you?
We are fine.
Oh,
We are fine.
Oh, great. Well, can you hear me?
Yes, please, go ahead.
Can you hear me, gentlemen?
We are hearing you.
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you. Go ahead.
Hello?
We are
Your
hearing
name
you.
is on the screen. You can hear. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, I believe Salisu is not there anymore. Must have dropped that call. Let me once again state this. You call in, and once your call has been passed through to the studio, that's when I'll announce that we have a caller and announce your name. But if you look on your screen, once you find your name has been displayed on the screen, it means your call is through. Just go right ahead. Chances that we can hear you. Otherwise, your name will not remain on the screen. Once you look on the screen and you see your name is there, it's another signal to say to you, you're on, go right ahead. And do not bother about the other greetings. Just go on and say, well, if we say, for instance, Salisu, you're on. Salisu calling from Kano. You look up on your screen and your name is there, Salisu calling from Kano. Just go right ahead. Thank you very much. We expect more calls to come through. We have Victor on the line from Lagos. Victor, go right ahead.
Hello?
Hello, go ahead, please.
Put down the
Hello?
volume.
Hello, sir. Hello? Good evening.
Yes, good evening. Go on. Your name is on screen, so go ahead.
Okay, I think
there must be a technical thing.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe the network is
Okay.
There's a drop call.
Well, another drop call. But again, I'll repeat this. Once your name appears, just go right ahead. You obviously on the phone, but you're watching the screen. You've turned down the volume. Once you see your name on, just go right ahead. Thank you. So we expect more calls to come through. Now, that's exactly what the situation is, where you've had people who have refuse to, as they say, obey those simple instructions, switch off, switch on. I mean,
It goes beyond that, Siri. Even issues of how to put your luggage, you know, some people, particularly women, have this big bag that they bring on board. They want it on their lap. And when the cabin crew is saying, please put it on the floor, or, you know, put it on the overhead, or the overhead. Some make trouble for that, knowing full well that there is a lot of balancing that needs to happen. Or simple instruction about, please put on, if you have your blind, if the, particularly for those who are sitting on the window, please move your blind off, blind off. Some will refuse to do that and said, well, why should you be telling me, can't the captain see front? What does he have to do with the blinds being open and all of that? Or people sit where they during at the wings,
wing exit,
at the exit wing, and then the cabin crew is talking to them and saying, "Are you ready to help us in the event of landing on water and all of this?" And he's just there browsing, not paying attention. And excuse me, can you hear? If you are not ready to help us, can we relocate you? And they said, relocate me for what? That will even bring. So a number of things I've seen happen on board many flights I've been in. Very little things that you are supposed to comply with, and then you start to argue, you start to puff and huff. And you know the problem with the aviation sector is because it's the high and mighty that usually people who are above average that flies. So sometimes the cabin crew could be intimidated because they don't know the identity of who they are dealing with. So sometimes they want to tread very carefully. They don't know who is who. So, but the point is, if we all understand it's about collective safety, I think we will argue less and just simply comply.
Let's try the phones again. And this call is coming from Abuja. And let's see if we can get this one in. Abubakar from Abuja, go ahead if you're there.
Good evening.
Yes, go ahead, Abubakar. Good evening.
Hello, good evening, sir.
Good evening. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm calling from Abuja. Okay, actually, I'm working with an airline here in Abuja, and the discussion is very crucial, and we face a lot of challenges with passengers. I'm a frontline officer, that is the top officer in an airline. So the issue is with passengers, we have a lot of issues, like the rightly speaker has said. So the issue is about, how passengers behave when we usually have issue on cancellation, delay, or schedules. This issue is beyond us as tech officers, because technical issue usually happens unprepared. So, like the speaker has rightly said, our airports, local airports, have a lot of issues when it comes to equipment or facilities to run the airlines. Recently we had an issue going to Bauchi, the speaker rightly said about the issue of sunset and inability of the runway lights or weather. So we are going to Bauchi and we have delays due to technical. So it's a chain. We have all the daily routines of our schedules. When we have issue, it actually accumulate all the issues with the route that we are going to. Hello?
All right. Okay. Well, I do believe that you've stated some of those issues you have when you need to explain.
He's supporting his boss.
Well,
No, the fact remains the fact that
Right.
Because he was referring to him.
when an aircraft have a technical issue and the engineer is not ready to release the aircraft, that the aircraft is not serviceable, there is nothing the airline can do at that point. You should note that we don't have any vendor that sells aircraft parts in Nigeria. All aircraft parts have been imported. All aircraft parts in Nigeria have been imported. We import parts. We have stores
God, you need to go into that business.
They have been approved. We have the
Be sure of that.
the stores we keep. We have parts we keep in stores, and there are some parts you cannot buy and keep in store until when you are in need of them. So, and sometimes some of these parts could take 2 to 3 days to arrive. If you are on AOG, it depends on where it's coming from. Now, all parts are being bought in dollars, not naira. These are part of the constraints the airlines are going through. Everything we do on the aircraft is being charged in dollar. Most of our maintenance facilities, now we have in Nigeria, yes, our maintenance are coming up. We are able to get some maintenance facility in Nigeria doing some checks. But most of the time, 90% of the times, the airlines goes outside Nigeria to carry out their checks. The C checks, not the A checks. And everything is being paid in dollar. Fuel price has been rising, Jet A1. There is no way all this will not affect the price of ticket. Now, talking about cancellation, I've said before, most of our airports are sunset airports. Now, if you have a technical or if you have a weather delay from morning, now we are going into the ember period. From December, you start having low visibility situations, and you have a sunset station. What we try to do is to try to go to most of the airports that are sunset during the day, try to see how we can try to change the schedule and put some airport that we can fly in at night and take them into the night period. And there is going to be delay because we're going to reshuffle the schedule somehow, one way or the other.
So what you're saying in essence is that sometimes, especially going into this last few months of the year, you would need to reschedule certain flights because of the matter of sunset airports. Right, that's
weather situation. Even right now, if there are weather situations, sometimes, right now we have the August break.
Okay.
When do we have a call?
Okay, yes, let's take this call from Lagos. Yes. Demola calling from Lagos. Go ahead, Demola.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Sorry.
Go ahead. Good evening.
This is Ms. Demola from Lagos. First of all, I want to commend the people in the studio. Been following up the program and here from the both side. But my little contribution is this. I'm sorry to say this on the live television. Some Nigerians have the habits of showing McManison, especially where it's not necessary. When you are on flights, you have to abide with all the protocols. You don't need anybody to force you to. It is the rules and regulations. We all know it. And because of this habit of, do you know who I am?
Yes, he said
even common No, we don't used to. We always want to show we know somebody, we are somebody. Can you talk to me that way? How much is your salary? I can, all these habits supposed to be dropped. We should abide with the law. Law is law anyway. Nigerians should know that. And the most annoying thing is that people who disobey laws in this country, they are the people that abide with this same law in other country, 100%. How do we show to ourselves that we are above each other or we are above the law? Please, I'm calling on everybody. Abuja law, it is law to protect everybody. Your own mistake or what you refuse to do may cause problem to almost everybody in that flight. Yes, law is law. Nigeria should respect law. And if anybody found obeying the laws, then the law should take its course without respect of who that person is.
All right.
Good evening.
Thank you very much, Dimola. And just to quickly add to that,
Steve,
before you come in, it's not even during the flight. It's not even before during the flights. It also happens on landing, and you find that the minute the plane touches down, so many passengers are upstanding already, struggling. And despite repeated appeals from the cabin crew, please remain in your seats. The exit will be row by row. Before you know it, the aisle is completely clogged and everyone wants to get out. And how do you explain that?
I don't know what else you want me to say. Lawlessness, habit. Old habits die hard. And the human nature, anything that you get doing, whether positive or negative, and your system begins to look out for it, you unconsciously you just go on doing it because it's human nature. That's why bringing up children, you want to bring them up with good habits, good attitude, because if you let them free, they will grow up hooligans. And you think they know what they are doing? No. It's a psyche. It's right in there. So the psyche of an average Nigerian is that the laws don't matter. As soon as we begin to show that the laws matter, gradually, you won't develop wings and fly off, fly away overnight. No, you won't. You would take another round of removing the rot in us. Yes, removing the rot in us until we begin to behave like... I remember my first visit to the French neighbor, Benin Republic. This was early 90s, about 1993. So I noticed that they had these, feelings about Nigerians that we were too assertive and too. I don't know how to describe, but anytime we did something small, they say, Nigeria.
Yeah.
Say Nigerian.
That's standard. That's standard.
Yeah, and and truly, that's who we are, and nobody stopped us as early as that time.
Okay.
And so we need to do something about it.
Back to the phones. We have Patrick calling in from Abuja. Hello, Patrick. Go ahead.
Yeah, a very good evening.
Good evening. Good evening.
I think everything that you guys are talking about regarding air travel safety protocols boils down to attitude. I would like to align myself with Mr. Goli Ike's views. He has hit the nail on the head. Why do we have laws in this society? It is so that we can regulate behavioral attitudes. And unfortunately, I could wager you a bet that the recent incidents involving Emerson and Kwangwon, they both got some sort of scraps on the wrists, if I may say so, because of some well-connected people up there. I was so embarrassed that even NBA had to come up and put up a statement that they are ready to do a pro bono service for Emerson. How did we get here?
How did you get here? How did you get here?
If that lady, and it's most likely that she's a first-time flyer, if that lady had adhered to the instructions, put off your handsets, I don't think all that altercation would have even seen the light of day. So we need to begin to, like Mr. Ike said,
Oh yeah, looks like they dropped that call. But however, you've made your point, and let me at this point just take one or two tweets, and return to the operations director. This one is Fiku Koliushu. Where should the line be drawn between the responsibilities of travelers and the duties of aviation staff during air travel?
Okay. First of all, I will say, most of the responsibility lies on the operators and the airport security, and the most responsibility of the traveler is to adhere to every instruction given to them.
All right.
Most travelers come to the airport believing they've been flying before, they are frequent flyer, they know what to do. We have different aircraft, and we say it on board. Please adhere to every instruction given to you by the crew. You may be a frequent flyer, but this varies from aircraft to aircraft. There are different directives. The emergency exits are different. Some have 4, some have 5, some have 6, some have only 2. The direction where you are going to go to. Sometimes the cabin crew will be giving briefing, a lot of passengers are not even listening. Now, if there is a problem, that is why a lot of passengers die, because they don't know where to go, what to do next, when to inflate their life jackets. He talked about passengers, female passengers, or some passengers want to keep bags on their legs. This is not allowed, it's not acceptable. Why? Because of, if there is an emergency, that bag is going to block the aisle, and it's going to cause congestion. People are not going to be able to pass. Issue of offing of phone. It is standard. You go and check the NCR. It has been written there right from time. If you look at the NCR, it talked about no one may use a PBE that have adverse effect to the aircraft.
Okay.
Everybody knows that these phones have radio frequencies, radioactive, magnetic, so many things that could affect the instrument of the aircraft.
Right.
Most of these phones we are using now are lithium-cadmium battery. They are lithium batteries with high temperature triggering.
It can explode.
It could explode at any time.
That's true.
But not in the air. You don't want that in the air.
All right.
Issue of offing your phone has been mandated now this afternoon by the DG NCA, Captain Chris Najamo, and the regulatory body is no longer in flight mode. All phones must be switched off while on board the aircraft at critical stage. Take off, climb, descend, and land, approach and landing.
All right. So this just clarifies that this regulation is out now.
Yes.
That there's no issue of flight mode anymore. It has to be switched off.
Switched off, yes. It has been stamped.
Okay, I'll return to that in a moment. Let's just take this call from Joss, and I'll come back to that so that you state it clearly. Hello, this is, yes, go right ahead.
Yes, what I want to... Hello?
Yes, go ahead.
What I want to speak on is the issue of when you see planes traveling or fly, you smoke everywhere.
Smoke.
And I am
or clouds.
Advised that the issue of smoke is supposed to be controlled, supposed to be monitored because it carries people inside.
Smoke.
Example of that, when the plane flies and the planes are not being controlled, and when the smoke has started to show that plane has gone to the stage of scraps. So I'm advising that people should monitor when
okay.
plane has started smoking or plane, the smoke has started come out from the plane.
We need to know from where.
Okay, well, let me just let's get this clearly, Dandul, if you can hear me. Are you right? Are you talking about smoke in the cabin, or you're referring to aircraft taking off, landing, and you see smoke from? I mean, in form of maybe you see smoke, and you're thinking perhaps smoke from an exhaust or something like that, or from the. We don't quite get it. You talked about smoke. Smoke where exactly? The cabin or smoke from the engines? If you can hear me. All right, we've lost that. Unfortunately, we couldn't get that. However, perhaps Captain Ahmed here can make something out of that, or what he was exactly referring to, talking about smoke. I don't get it really.
I don't really get what he's trying to say, but if he says smoke, is it in the cabin or from the engines? But what I'm suspecting he's saying is the air conditioning, steaming in the cabin. He may, because sometimes he comes in and you think it's smoke.
Okay.
There can never be smoke in the cabin.
It's not possible.
It's not possible. When there is smoke in the cabin, it's an emergency.
All right.
We have to declare and we have to carry out an emergency descent.
All right.
So there is no smoke in the cabin.
Right. Okay. So I'd like to go back quickly to the matter of just before that call came through, and that's switching off, living in flight mode. You say a new standard. That regulation has been there, switching off, and people have talked about flight mode, and so many have said, look, once you put it on flight mode, it's fine. Some tell you, oh, I've been flying internationally. These days, you don't switch off. In fact, airlines even offer you data in flight, and you can use that. And so why are we still talking about it? So people ask all this. So we just want you to spell out what has just been put out there as a part of the regulations. But just before you do that, I do understand we have a call from Benin. If we can just take that call. Yes, go ahead, please. Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead, Benin. Okay, on, I believe. Yes. Please go ahead. Yes, go ahead.
Are you hearing me?
Yes, we are. Go ahead.
Are you hearing me?
Yes.
Yeah, this is about Koyamo from Benin. My name is Uncle Expert anyway.
All right.
Okoyomon. That is my name. So before I make my contribution, let me quickly commend Steve Stober. I'm happy to see you. You are a veteran broadcaster. It's a household name in Nigeria, Steve Stober. I think it's high time we begin to celebrate people who are still living. You are a household name in Nigeria. I appreciate to see your face here.
Thank you.
Yes. My contribution is this. You see, when we talk of air safety, we should go to the roots. Because right now, a rank peg should be put in a rank row. You cannot put a doctor to be in charge of aviation or a lawyer to be in charge of aviation. I'm a retired civil servant. If you don't know the work of your subordinate, you cannot control him. You cannot control your subordinate, except you are well acquainted with the work of your subordinate. So you can control them. Otherwise, your subordinate is going to play on your intelligence. You rely on advice from permanent secretary, from career civil servant, etc. Because the person at the head don't even know anything concerning that ministry. So I think we should start from there by making sure that experts who are well knowledgeable in aircraft management and aviation are at the head. Not put a medical doctor to head Ministry of Justice, it's an aberration. Or put a lawyer to head Ministry of Agriculture, it's an aberration. So we should stop, patronizing our brothers and sisters, political friends in appointments. If we must start from somewhere. This is my contribution. I thought that one is reserved. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Let's return to, yes, now we have the opportunity to restate that regulation and also comment on the last caller.
Okay. Right from time, it has been in the regulation that no one may use a PED, portable electronic device, that may adversely affect aircraft systems. Now, if you want to use it or your airline want to allow passengers to keep their phone on flight mode, you have to have done risk-based analysis and done some research and bring it to the CAA. They will not approve it for you that you can do that. Now it's in your manual. If I have not done that, it's not in my manual, I have to tell them to switch off their phone. That is the regulation. Yeah. If it has been approved for you to do that, I have to go through the same process for the CAA to look at what I've done, and they are convinced that, yes, you've carried out.
Would it have to do with the kind of aircraft you're operating on other such matters?
Yes. Sometimes you look at your aircraft and say, we've done this, we don't think this will affect. Now, where the problem is, you cannot really judge. These devices are different from each other, and they have different capabilities, different radioactive, different so yours may be different from mine. And the second part is, you put on flight mode, you think you don't have network. Some people carry portable internet device that while even we are on flight mode, their phone have network. They are communicating on internet, and you can still do a lot of things. We have seen it. A lot of people have put their phone on flight mode, but they have a portable internet model. Whether you are on airplane mode, flight mode, and you have your modem is not switched off, your aircraft is still connected. Your phone is still connected. And because of this issue coming up, I cannot come to your office and not follow your protocol. The aircraft is our office. And we are being guided by procedures, law, instruction, directive. And safety is number one in everything we do. We don't have a parking space in the air. I'm going to Abuja, you say you get to Ilorin, something happened, please park, let's check. No. If anything affects your instrument.
So for now, the NCA has issued a directive.
All phone must be turned off. And even airlines that have it in their manual that they can do flight mode, they should review and send back to NCA for approval.
Effectively,
immediate.
No air or aeroplane or airplane mode anymore. Switch off.
Switch off.
That's straightforward.
They stand to review it as time goes on.
Okay. Let me just return to a number of tweets here and see, what your comments can be on those, even though you have already told us that certain things beyond the scope of the airlines themselves, but some do bear on the activities. This one is from Obasi. It says, e-gates and biometrics promise a contactless fast entry exit system. How do we ensure this tech works for everyone, not just a few? That's one tweet there. And another, same Obasi says, manual luggage screening is being phased out at Lagos Airport. What do you think this means for passenger privacy and security effectiveness? So these are issues people are raising based on the topic we're discussing. And again, Labzi 6 says, how come we still face long queues, delays, and no system excuses despite all the technology available? That I'm sure you can comment on.
I want to state it again and again and again. We have no control over airport facilities as an operator. We have no control to that. If they have only 2 screening points, we cannot do more than that. If they have 10 screening points that makes it easier, we will be happy. But the authority need to look into this. We need to build up the facilities in our airports, both on the land side and on the air side. The operators cannot do anything about it. I am happy. Last week I saw on the news, or 2 weeks ago, that the Lagos International Airport has been given approval for renovation. And I hope they will put into the renovation. In Nigeria, we don't have a provision for a passenger to do a connecting flight. If you come down, if you get down from the aircraft, you have to go down totally, go through immigration before now going back to check-in, which is not supposed to be so. We should have a provision for an aircraft to be able to connect without going through immigration and custom. You can transfer flight. It is because we have not grown our aviation. Nigeria have the market for any kind of aviation business you want to do. But the capabilities are not there. The economical challenges is killing the operation. A lot of things we can continue to count. But if they can put in the renovation to be able to accommodate connecting flights for passengers, airlines are coming, they are growing, when we can start a hub. If smaller countries in Africa can have a hub, in Nigeria we don't have a hub. We only do point to point.
Okay. Let me add to that.
Yes, please.
Yes. 3 years ago, FAN, the Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria, had a conference, and I was invited. I was one of the panelists there. And I remember, out of very deep research work, while I was speaking, I told the audience that we needed to develop interconnectivity scheme, which aligns with what Captain has just said about how we do our connections. And then I recommended again that we should have cross-subsidization scheme that will enable everyone, poor, middle class, or upper class, to fly. And I gave an example with India. The longest route in India is about 3.5 hours within India, the same country. But here, our longest route is Lagos-Maiduguri, which is barely 1 hour 30-something minutes.
1 hour 40
yes, or 1 hour 40 minutes at most, depending on whether you are engaging a headwind or you are engaging a tailwind. That makes the difference in the time. But India, 3.5 hours, and you are flying from one point to the other within the same country, and yet the poor in India do fly because of this scheme. And nobody ever, till this day, asked Godike, what do you mean by this interconnectivity? And what do you mean by cross, subsidization, scheme? Rather, what I got was an attack from one of the airline gurus, there, because I dared to say we shouldn't be paying more than 50,000 naira one way at a time. And he almost slaughtered me. But then again, what he didn't understand was that I wasn't saying that airlines will not get the money that will enable them maintain their, but a scheme will make it possible that somebody can pay 50,000. As a matter of fact, Soba, I am getting to the finishing touches of the platform I'm building for that purpose. Okay. We will soon be paying 50,000 to fly, but the airlines will get their full money because of the cross-subsidization that they haven't understood, and nobody in 3 years has asked me, what exactly are you talking about?
Okay. We just have a few more minutes left on this program. And I'd just like to ask Jide Ojo, the last caller made some comments. Would you like to start on that premise? What's your response to what he...
I didn't quite get what exactly the question was.
No, well, what he was saying was that to run certain industry, you need to have someone who, he gave an example with the aviation. Does that really hold water in this case? That you must have someone who knows everything about aviation to do it? Because he's likening that to the question of medicine.
I remember.
Right.
But you see, it's advisable but not necessary, not mandatory. In the last dispensation for 8 years, we had a captain, a pilot, we were told.
He said he's a pilot.
Well, anyway, I don't want to go into the... But we know what happened in 8 years. That was somebody from the industry. And with due respect, a lot of Nigerians have a reservation about his scorecard as Minister of Aviation. So, this one is a lawyer, but people will say, in 2 years, they've seen some.
He has not done bad, because if you look at the aviation industry for the past years, we have not been able, Nigeria has been on the blacklisted countries to be able to get aircraft, leased aircraft into Nigeria. He has been able to erase that from record.
So yeah. So
he has been able to erase that. A lot of changes have come in. He has been working hand in hand with the Civil Aviation Authority.
But where I want to come in, because
this is basically, let's look at it, it's a matter of policy. You do have the professionals who are manning the agency. So this is all about
and you
policy.
also need legal opinion on some of these things.
So
contractual things.
Sometimes you ask yourself, then who would be the president of the country? What would he be? Yes. Well, would it have to be someone who is a political scientist, or would it have to be someone who is every of those aspects put together?
So that's why I said it's neither here nor there. But I think as we wrap up, the most important thing is aviation sector. Captain said something which is very instructive. We blame airlines, operators for many things that are not their business. They work within a confined environment. They are not FAN, they are not NCA, they are not NAMA. But the point is, because we pay to them, we don't pay to, we are not paying FAN, we are not paying.
All right.
So the point is that there is a need. I don't know what has happened with the concessioning agenda, whether that would be best for our industry, but for our aviation industry, because I believe there's a lot of investment that needs to go into the aviation sector to enhance. How can we, in good conscience, say out of about 32 airports, only 6 or thereabout as is not affected by this sunset thing? It said 4 before. Now we have Enugu and Owerri. So 6 out of 32 is a very poor mark. Because the caller that called and was talking about Bauchi and all of this. This is why many flights to Gombe, Bauchi, Akure, and the rest of them get cancelled.
We'll have to leave the conversation here.
Before we go,
just want
I want to say the aviation industry need to be improved. The NAMA, if the minister can intervene, the radar system operation is not optimal and affecting operation seriously. Training new controllers with active aircraft, when you can even have a training center with a simulator of radar to train, and this affects our operation. Extra cost of fueling, longer time for landing, delays, and even incur into our delays.
All right, so time is up, I'm afraid, and we'll have to leave this conversation here with just one final word that I'm putting through, and this comes through a tweet. It might be one of those rhetorical questions which you might not be able to answer on tonight's program. And that's from Fikun Ushu, and he says, it's from Ibrahim's Fura, he says, with all the queues, delays, and extra payments here and there, is air travel in Nigeria really giving us value for money?
Yes.
And that's what we would like to ponder on.
I said yes.
As we end this conversation, and thank our guests. Thank you so much. Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Captain Ahmed Ibrahim Mahmoud, Director Operations, United Nigeria Airlines. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Steve.
And always there for us. Jide Uju, we thank you.
The honor is mine. Thanks
Thank
for having me. No, we need free ticket.
You won't leave here without the
And that's our program today. We thank you all for being part of it. Next week, we'll be back with NTA Tuesday Live. I'm Cyril Stober. Bye for now.